Hello and welcome. I'm Amritanshu Rai and you're watching Law of the Land on Raj Sabha TV. Today we bring to you the Factories Amendment Bill 2014, which seeks to improve the working conditions of the factory workers. To discuss the issue, I have with me Mr. Tapan Sen, Member Parliament Raj Sabha, and Professor S.C. Srivastav, Secretary General, National Labour Law Association. Now for the headlines. The bill proposes allowing women to work in night shifts with conditions. The bill enhances the overtime work cap to a maximum of 125 hours in a quarter. The Parliamentary Standing Committee objects to increasing working hours. Women workers will be able to do night shifts if the government proposed amendments are approved by the Parliament. The government seeks to amend the Factories Act to allow women to take on duties at night subject to employers providing safe environment. Earlier, the Factories Law prohibited women being put on night shifts.
The Factories Amendment Bill 2014 proposes to raise the threshold of the factories that will be brought under the law. Earlier, any factory with power having 10 employees was covered under the Factories Act, but now they may not be covered. Also, any factory without having power having 20 employees and below may be exempted from the ambit of the law. The proposed threshold is 20 employees and above factories for working with power and minimum 40 employees for factories working without power.
I think that will be required because as and when more and more women are coming into the workforce, given the fact that there is a high degree of unemployment and youth unemployment at that in the country, men are facing a big crisis. With women coming into the job market, there is going to be a friction and a lot of conflict. And that is what we are seeing, especially in the labor force. So we are seeing that in public spaces, we are seeing that in the form of rapes and other kinds of crises which women are facing. So insecurity of women is going to be on the rise, and therefore we need to really work towards providing for it in a better fashion.
The Factories Laws Amendment Bill proposes to allow employees to work overtime 4 hours per day with maximum cap of 100 hours per quarter, extendable by 25 hours. Earlier, this limit was 50 hours per quarter. The bill also empowers the state governments to make rules to bring factories into the ambit of the law. The proposed amendments allow women to work during night hours in a factory or a group of factories if adequate safeguards for safety, health and comfort for women are made available. If any employer fails to provide safety to employees, he will be punishable with imprisonment of a term which may be extended to 6 months or a fine which may extend to 3 lakh rupees or with both. The bill makes it mandatory for factories employing more than 150 people to provide shelters or restrooms. The bill states that a factory with more than 75 workers must provide separate shelters or restrooms for male and female workers. It also amends the law to make drinking water available to everyone without exceptions.
In Delhi, capital of India, more than 42 lakhs employees are working, and only 5% has a appointment letter. No employer is ready to give appointment letter. Without creation, relation, employer and employee, there will be no implementation of labor law. Big factory where 500 employees are working, they have only 6-7 employees on the roll. And they are saying other employees are not my baby, they are the contractor workers. They are working on contract. Employers are not responsible to give them benefit as per the existing law.
The Factories Amendment Bill 2014 was introduced in Lok Sabha on 7th August 2014 and was referred to the Parliamentary Standing Committee on 16th September. The statement of objections and reasons states that the amendments proposed in the bill are based on the changes in manufacturing practices and technologies and ratification of ILO conventions, judicial decisions and recommendations of various committees. Labour unions have a major demand in the proposed Factories Laws Amendment Bill. They want the raised cap to be justifiable so that each and every employee who is a labourer in a factory is included and he should be able to get the benefits that are prescribed in the law. As on today, majority of the employees who are working in factories are not included in the factories' roles. With camera person Ashwini, Rajkamal Rao, Rajya Sabha TV.
The Act defines a factory broadly as any premises where manufacturing is undertaken with aid of power and at least 10 people are employed during the last 12 months and 20 or more people if no power is used. The bill specifies that the state government may raise the minimum number of workers employed in the definition to 20 if power is used and 40 if power is not used. On the women issue, sir, the women issue is that they are somehow trying to allow women to work in night shifts, which is a complete change from the earlier stance.
No, actually this issue is being dealt by the country's trade union movement also for quite a long time. Women are there and women work participation rate is also going down very fast, and that is a matter of alarm. Women are a sizable section. In many cases, the women are the only breadwinner of the family. So in that kind of a situation, not being for these restrictions, somebody are not getting employment also, that is also somebody are complaining. This is being discussed since long, and we have been telling, that is trade union movements are also telling, and even during the previous period of last UPA regime, this was also discussed. We told that in the areas where that is absolutely necessary, say BPOs and other areas. Now, even now the women are working at night in BPOs, but
Correct.
just unlawfully. So if you have to do it, you have to ensure their protections. And also you have to get her consent.
Correct.
Not only her consent, but also collective consent of the unions. You discuss whether it is at all required or just you are keeping people like that. All these things has to be clearly understood, and then you can go on the basis of an agreement, consensus with the concerned workers and their unions. That we have been debating. And another, about the safety part of that, you have to ensure safety not only after night work coming and going, you have to provide vehicles, and that vehicle must be available from her doorstep, not in the area. That you are staying somewhere and the main road, the car will be waiting for you. No, it must be at the doorstep, given the gradual deterioration in the law and order situation and increasing incidents of violence against women that is taking place. So that was it. Government was not agreeing that doorstep, etc., etc.
Right. Any burden on the entrepreneur, the government was...
But one good thing here, that is, I must admit that they have been agreed to have the consent of the union, have the consent of the individual worker, and also the doorstep thing, providing, reaching them up to doorstep, that has been agreed. But again, the main question comes, if it is 40-20, and if as per small factory bill, which is waiting in the wing, which proposes clearly contradicting this bill, that any factory establishment with 40 workers are out of the purview of the Factory Act. If that comes finally, then this is nothing but the deceptive poser that we are taking care of.
Exactly. So I'll get you in. What the concerns that Sir's made here, do you see it being reflected as it is in the bill? You must have gone through the bill. All these concerns of pickup, because I went through it, there was no specificity as far as this is concerned. It is mentioned that broadly they will provide for security and the conducive environment, but the specificity issue that Sir mentioned, they are not mentioned in the provisions.
It's there.
No, it's there.
Please
it's
check.
very much there. Not only this, they have also, the bill has also provided that they have to provide a separate toilet, the creche facilities are to be provided. Then there are the protection against sexual harassment also. That is also mentioned in the bill. And quite apart from this, the doorstep, which Mr. Sain has rightly pointed out, that has also been included in the bill.
But his concern that if the 71% of the people go out of the ambit,
for whom it is
then
meant
where do we keep? I mean,
Yes.
these women, you allow them to work at night,
That's right.
but you remove the umbrella legislative legal structure as protection.
That's right.
So what will be the now? That means it is basically. We'll go to the next point, sir. Is the hazardous?
Yes, hazardous process.
description of that.
You see, they are proposing to delete the schedule listing out the hazardous industry. Maybe that list is old and that needs to be updated, but that can't be deleted. After all, listing out the hazardous industry based on a definition of a hazardous industry and thing, this is one thing. But listing of the industry means straightaway your enforcement machinery, straightaway that is before them, that here we must go and look into that. And if somebody complains that beyond this schedule some other industry also hazard is involved, then they have to take a call.
Correct.
That should be there. But if you delete the list altogether, it is anybody's discretion and guess whether I'll go into that door or that shade or that shade. So you are giving a bigger lever to the employers to violate, and also enforcement machinery, you are also giving a bigger lever, indulgence, not to do their job, making a plea that that is not in the list. So it is meant for enforcement, and particularly in the matter of safety, it is a matter of life and death of the people.
Correct.
So in that list must be there with a provision we have proposed, and that should be time to time updated. Number one. Number two, instead the position that is being taken by this bill, that hazardous substance they are defining.
Yeah, that's the point.
Now the hazards are of different kinds. Something comes from substance, particularly in the chemical factories and others. But the hazardous operation is also another aspect. The kind of operation, you are working at height, you are working with a heavy burden, you are operating a vehicle in a very uneven field, but as in coal mines or different mining areas. So you will see the hazardous operation is also a very important segment of the whole safety and operation issues. So that you are just completely negating when we only delete the schedule and keep the hazardous substance definition. However broad-based you can make that definition, but the whole operational hazards is just cut out.
Time for us to head into a break. When we come back, we will tell you about the recommendations of the Standing Committee.
जम्मू कश्मीर में फिर आतंकी हमला, सांबा में 2 आतंकी ढेर, आतंकी कार्रवाई के सीधे प्रसारण पर रोक। देखिए पहली खबर, आतंकी हमला, आज शाम 7 बजे।
Welcome back. No factory should detain workers beyond 8 hours of work without fair compensation. This is the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Labour, which recommends to the government this point. The committee has also asked the government to revisit provisions of the Factories Amendment Bill 2014 before proceeding further.
Standing Committee on Labour tabled its third report on the proposed amendments to the Factories Amendment Bill 2014. In its report, it has asked the government to revisit the proposal as its last consultations on the matter happened over the last 3 years. The committee feels if the proposed bill is approved as it is, it may provide an opportunity to factories to harass employees.
They have increased the overtime limit from 50 to 100 in normal course. And in emergency, that limit is crossed to 100 to 115 hours in emergency. It means there will be no job creation. The existing staff will be forced to work on overtime. and they will not get double overtime. They will get a single overtime.
The parliamentary panel has rejected the government's proposal to extend quarterly working hours to 125 hours. The committee feels that this may hamper the employment opportunities. Committee has warned the government of opposition from trade unions and observations that government ignored in the consultation process with trade unions.
Really no case that has been registered and no penalty actually meted out or imposed. So since that is it's such a low level of implementation as far as the penalty goes, I'm really wondering whether the penalty should be made such a big thing.
The committee has recommended amending the bill to bring in all factory workers in a state under one labour commissioner. Committee has asked the government to set up additional labour courts within the factory complex for on-spot disposal of complaints. Committee wants the government to make the management legally bound to protect and uplift the interest of women workers. It has also asked the government to implement the law of mobility of labour to avoid man-made barriers to labour mobility. The Standing Committee has suggested that government should consider hazardous working conditions in factories and include special provisions to provide safety to those working in factories. Standing Committee's recommendation to provide on-spot justice for all the labour matters within the factory premises has received a lot of applause from associations, but the real challenge lies in providing infrastructure in all the remotest parts of the country where majority of the factories are located. With camera person Ashwini Rajkamal Rao, Rajya Sabha TV.
The committee observed that amendments to increase the spread over of the working hours from the existing 10.5 hours to 12 hours. The committee apprehended that such a proposal might lead to the harassment of the workers on being compelled to stay in the workplace for a longer period without adequate compensation. How do you see this new definition coming about? Because a substantial number of factories completely go out of the ambit.
Actually, not only factories amendment bill, but also whatever labour law change exercise is going on under the present government. All the exercise are having a singular aim, that is to push out more and more workers outside the purview and protection of all those labour laws. Normally the constitutional mandate for any legislative exercise is to establish rule of law for all. Here, labour is the only exception where the entire exercise is being made to push labour out of the protection, purview and protection of these labour laws, which are meant to insert some discipline in the workplace, and leave it to their entire mercy of the employers. Meaning thereby that even if the law, this same piece of legislation may be having some good item in other area, other parts of the bill, these are all show and deception because you are pushing out the labour out of the labour law. And as per government's own estimate, annual survey of industries, latest, 71.2% of the factory establishments in the country will go out of the purview of the Factories Act if this law is put in place as it is.
Sir, the implication of this, sir, made valid points, but how do you see it having an effect on the workers?
No, I think they will be deprived of all the benefits which are available under the Factories Act, like working hours, holidays, leave, health, safety and welfare. All these provisions are meant, and they will be deprived of all these provisions because they will not be covered within the meaning of the factory. They will not be entitled to the benefit as per the Factories Act, because the Factories Act, provisions of the Factories Act would not be applicable to them because they will be out of the purview of the factory. As he has rightly pointed out, 70% of them would be out of the purview of
71.2% factories go out of the ambit, which essentially means, sir, how many workers are we looking at?
86%.
86.
So 86% of the workers in India will completely...
Not exactly. Factories Act covers only among the organized sector workforce. That is hardly 7 or 8% of the country's entire workforce.
Correct.
Out of that 7% or 8%, 86% will go out.
So nearly...
That means, in reality, 99% workers, if you add the organized, unorganized sector together in the country, will go out of any level of protection.
So which essentially means that nearly a crore and a half workers, roughly, will completely go into beyond regulation, out of the ambit of the...
Not crore, because you see the organized sector workforce is rough estimate is around 4 crores.
Correct.
Is around 4 crores. Out of that 70% you can calculate. So it's not
more
1
than
crore
3 crores workers go out of the ambit of regulation.
Ambit of regulation. It is absolute lawlessness in favor of the employers.
And how do the employers benefit out of this?
Well, I think...
What is the employer looking at? Because there must be... the employers must have made representations to the government and to the entire machinery. That is why the government has probably included this change in definition. So what is there?
I think they are the beneficiary, in the sense that once we say this thing, they have not to provide all these things, benefits like creche. We have got the other benefits like working hours, holidays, leave, health. Even for safety provisions also, they have not to comply this one. And the result would be that the persons will become legal orphan. These persons who are, say, out of the purview, they become the legal orphan. They have no remedy, because once the act is not applicable, the employer would be benefited because they are not required to follow the safety provisions, the provisions regarding welfare, whether we call it canteen, creche or other facilities. They will not be required to even provide for health facilities.
Sir, I'll bring you in, sir, on completely the opposite side of the story. See, the Prime Minister has made statements to this effect, that there is a disbalance between the number of job seekers and job creators. So somewhere he wants the entrepreneur to be unburdened so that he goes ahead and creates more jobs. With that in focus, don't you see this helping the entrepreneur to go ahead and offloads a little bit of weight on him of the legislation and compliance to...
You see, in the final sense, this kind of thought, this kind of idea, that sense, it reflects a naive insensibility in the matter of a vision of how economy works. After all, entrepreneurs will produce material that will be sold in the market, then they will get return on capital investment. By this exercise, you are impoverishing the worker, because they will not minimum wage. They will not be even demand minimum wage, because they are not under the umbrella of any law protection.
Correct.
And in so forth. And not only that, some other bills are going to be built in the same direction, to completely leave them protectionless. And in that kind of a situation, the workers are workers as well as they are consumers.
Correct.
So, if your market swings, why should they invest at all? They will only speculate. And the whole economic policy paradigm now in vogue in our country is to promote speculation and make money out of money instead of creating value. How do the country benefit out of it?
Correct.
Clearly, it is not merely that government is working for the corporates. No. It is rather the corporates are dictating the government on every issue and they are succumbing to it.
On the issue of overtime, how do you see this overtime thing panning out, and also the straight over?
Well, I think so far as the overtime is concerned, the earlier law, under the present existing law, it is 50 hours in a quarter. Now, they have tried to raise it to 100 and then 125, even later extended to up to 125. The effect of this would be that it will reduce, the unemployment problem will be there. Because if you are providing more work, you see, overtime, and then even for the rate of overtime also, see, that thing we have to see, because how it will be adjusted, that's another issue which is before us. So therefore, the major issue is about the unemployment problem, because that will lead to unemployment.
So what's your take on the...
12-hour work has become a pattern in most of the private sector factories. It has become a pattern. And sometimes they pay compensation. Again, that is not as per law, not the double the wage, but single wage.
Yes.
Wherever the worker could assert, they could get only single wage, not even double wage. That kind of lawlessness is already prevailing. And if you further add to it, even that compensation they will stand to lose. And at the same time, as Mr. Srivastava rightly told, what is the need of the hour when the country is having so much unemployed? You talking big about the skill development, bagada, bagada, bagada.
Yes, yes.
What those people getting skill, where they will come? You are creating a you are creating a kind of contradictory situation by expanding the overtime hours.
Moving on, my colleague Rajkamal Rao spoke to Dr. U.D. Chaube, Director General, Standing Conference of Public Enterprises, and tried to get his point of view.
If we allow the labor commissioner's person to sit in the premises of the enterprise, then what will happen? The practical aspect is, every day, the office of the person concerned from the labor department will have hundreds of people around it at the cost of work which they are supposed to do. So these are the practical things, considering our cultural aspects in India, that how people approach towards problem need to be considered.
One labor commissioner to oversee all the labor matters. Is it really practical? If this is implemented on the ground, what kind of difficulties that all the appointed commissioners will face?
I agree that this does not appear to be a practical solution.
Correct. Yeah. Moving on, my colleague Rajkamal Rao spoke to Dr. U.D. Chaube, Director General, Standing Conference of Public Enterprises.
If we allow the labor commissioner's person to sit in the premises of the enterprise, then what will happen? The practical aspect is, every day, the office of the person concerned from the labor department will have hundreds of people around it at the cost of work which they are supposed to do. So these are the practical things, considering our cultural aspects in India, that how people approach towards problem need to be considered.
One labor commissioner to oversee all the labor matters. Is it really practical? If this is implemented on the ground, what kind of difficulties that all the appointed commissioners will face?
I agree that this does not appear to be a practical solution, because one, that state is there is a concurrent list under the Constitution of India, and labor happens to be that. So state governments have to do the maximum on this part, because most of the labors are spread in the states. Now the labor institution of labor commissioner or the related downwards hierarchy, this is not adequate to be placed in each of the enterprise to look after the litigations and cases of labor-related problems.
It's time for us to end the show. You can email your suggestions and comments to law.rstv@gmail.com. You can also watch our shows on the RSTV page of YouTube. We'll be back with a new issue and a new episode. Keep watching Rajya Sabha TV.